Good morning, welcome to my neighborhood. The sun finally came out. It's been raining like crazy here. We're having roads washed out and Vancouver is no longer connected to the rest of Canada because all the roads are washed out with landslides and stuff like that. However, it is very nice to see the sunshine. Today I want to do something a little bit shorter, a little bit more fun. A shout out to Alex Cloherty. She's made the finals of FAmeLab, and this is a competition that started with 4,000 people in countries all over the world. And she was in the semi-final a week ago, and she's in the last 10. She does Microbial Mondays, and has a very lovely sense of humor mixed with some pretty nice science insights. But I also want to congratulate all the others that made the semifinals and the finals for FAmeLab. And you can watch the final live on November 25th. It's coming up fast. And in the semifinals, they let the audience vote and rank the top 3 performers. And in the case of the semifinals, they're the ones that got to go through to the final no matter what the judges said. So that's cool. I don't know what they're going to do in the final though. So go have a look at it. I think it was 1600 GMT. But what it's made me think about is presentations that happen in 3 minutes. FAmeLab requires 3-minute presentations, and they're looking for clarity and charisma and content. So I was thinking about one. I thought, this isn't mine, but I was looking at a paper this morning, and it was really lovely. It's about the ePatch. And what they've done is they've made an injectable for, anything, but it works very well for mRNA vaccines, like for SARS-CoV-2. And they started with a piezoelectric barbecue igniter. And they added to that an injector with a microneedle electrode array. And that's basically it. Okay, the implications are really important. You get a better response in the skin than in the muscles. And you don't have to worry about this issue of do you aspirate the needle or not. There's this controversy about when you're going into the muscle, are you likely to hit a vein? And it's unlikely, but everybody's anatomy is different. Given that this is a injection into the skin layers, the likelihood of that happening is much lower, I think. But they can make this for under $1 US. That charge coming off the piezoelectric igniter, what it does is it opens up the cell to the extent that the mRNA can get in without the lipid coating. As a result, there is no cold chain required. The cold chain is to maintain the stability of the lipid coating. So that's it. That's the presentation. Look up ePatch. You can find it on Zoomers of the Sunshine Coast group, or SC Zoomers on Twitter. And ePatch, I think there's also an article in Scientific American recently. So that's that presentation. That's the sort of thing you're likely to find at the FAmeLabs. Done better than I can, of course. Alex uses a lot of props. I don't know where she gets those plush microbial animals. I looked and I couldn't find any that were as good as hers, so maybe she's making them. Who knows? The other thing I saw this morning that was particularly interesting that might fit this kind of 3-minute presentation format is that there's a group in Finland that's making something that looks a whole lot like a brewery. But instead of producing alcohol, it's producing protein. And they've gone back and used research that was done during the Apollo era for, moon landings and stuff. and they have taken it out and industrialized it. And what they're able to do is they're hitting the food chain at a very low level, at a molecular level. And they're brewing, essentially, out of carbon dioxide and light, are the main feedstocks, these lovely single-cell organisms. And then what they do is they take it and they dry it out, and they end up with a powder, a neutral tasting powder. But the powder has a lot of protein. It has essential minerals, it has fiber, it has a lot of things in it that would constitute food, because it's in fact the basis for all the food we eat in the first place. And what they're suggesting is they can make this basically anywhere. It was first done for space travel. So it works well in deserts and everywhere else that have trouble with environmental issues. Might even work for Mars, because growing things on Mars is hard. But they're looking at just incorporating it into food stocks, much like you'd incorporate protein powders or nutritional yeast into diets as part of our diets. And of course you can make all manner of things from this powder by adding flavors and everything else. So that's the second 3-minute kind of presentation. And that's it. I love these ideas where you take something that's lovely, that's got a really wonderful use. By the way, they can make something that would provide you with kind of the nutrition of meat for sort of 1% of what it would take to do animal protein. So, what do you know that would make an excellent FameLab presentation? Tell me, point at your videos. I want to see these things. I appreciate that that some of the people are finding these talks entertaining and funny. I hear you. I want to see your presentation. I want to know what you're excited about, what you're doing, how it fits with the world. Because if we can have a less than $1 injectable that doesn't require a cold chain at all, and is easier to implement because it's microneedles, not a single skinny needle injectable, or if we have somebody that can brew food that gives us not alcohol, but protein, for a fraction of the cost of the massive areas that we're using now for farming on an industrialized basis, these are things that change the world. What are you doing that's changing the world? Curious minds want to know. Even if you're not competing on FameLab, practice won't hurt. I'm very grateful for all these people that are doing these things. And, it takes guts and gumption to compete in some of these FameLab competitions, because you are being watched. And not only that, you're being watched for posterity. So these are interesting times, and call for interesting and delightful solutions. Thank you. Enjoy the sunshine today. Press like, subscribe, all those kind of good things. You can find us as SC Zoomers on Twitter, Zoomers of the Sunshine Coast on Facebook, and you can find FameLab on YouTube or at their webpage. I'm very grateful for everybody who's out there. I'm very grateful for all the people that are doing such amazing work. Keep it up. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you next time. Bye now.